Welcome back to New Earth Creations. Today I want to start off on something a little bit different. Today I'm going to read from a script based on a rather long, candid conversation I had with myself. So let's get ready. Possibilities. What if Surrey was designed to become a model for unity? Today on Possibilities, I want to look at Surrey through the lens of solutions. This episode is about change, awareness, and the deeper opportunity hidden inside a city that has been transformed very quickly. Surrey is a city I grew up in. It was a city I was born into, and it is a city I now see with different eyes. The skyline has changed, the streets have changed, the density has changed, the rhythm of the city has changed. Where there used to be houses, there are now towers. Where a few families may have lived, many more now live within the same physical space. What once felt more open and familiar now seems denser, faster, and more complex. The population has also changed. Over the last 5 or 6 years, from my own observation, Surrey has experienced a major shift in language, culture, population density, and community dynamics. What once largely felt English-speaking now feels far more mixed. People have arrived from many different countries through many different pathways, carrying many different hopes, histories, customs, and ways of seeing the world. Some have come through immigration, some have come through refugee programs, some have come through work programs, some have come through education, some have come to support family find opportunity and to build a different life. And now all of these lives are meeting in one city. That is a powerful thing. It is also something worth looking at honestly. Because when many different populations are placed together very quickly, inside a city is already facing housing pressure, cost of living pressure, development pressure, labor pressure, and cultural pressure, tension can be created. People can begin to feel separate. People can begin to stay within familiar groups. People can begin to feel frustrated with each other. Long-term residents may feel their home has shifted beyond recognition. Newcomers may feel unwelcomed, unseen, or used by the system that has brought them here. Workers may feel exhausted. Families may feel squeezed. Communities may feel disconnected. And when people feel pressure from different angles, they can easily be guided into blaming one another. That is where I want to pause. Because this is a deeper part of the conversation. What if this situation has been more than a random change? What if the tension people feel has been shaped through design? What if the rapid transformation of Surrey was part of a larger pattern where population growth, housing development, labor programs, immigration streams, student pathways, and economic pressure all came together in a way that produced separation? What if people were moved into shared spaces faster than a community was prepared to integrate them? What if the system understood that when different populations are placed under pressure, people may begin to looking sideways at each other instead of upward at the structures creating the pressure? And for the purpose of clarity, let's repeat that statement, that last one. What if the system understood that when different populations are placed together under pressure, people may begin looking sideways at each other instead of upward at the structures creating the pressure? What if the conflict itself becomes useful to the system? Because when people blame each other, they stop seeing the larger design. When long-term residents blame newcomers, they may miss the housing systems, labor systems, monetary systems, and policy decisions that created the conditions. When newcomers feel blamed, they may retreat further into their own groups, languages, and community. When everyone is struggling, everyone becomes easier to divide, and a divided city is easier to manage. A divided people are easier to control. A divided community has a harder time recognizing its shared power. So perhaps the true opportunity in Surrey is seeing the design clearly, Seeing that many people have been placed into difficult social experiment without being given the tools, times, education, language, and community support required to truly integrate. Seeing that many people arrived here believing Canada offered a better life, while many people already here were watching their families become more denser, more expensive, and harder to understand. Seeing that both groups from different sides of the experience may be carrying the pressure created by the same larger systems. The awareness matters, because awareness can turn division into clarity, and clarity can become the beginning of unity. Growing up in Canada, multiculturalism was presented as part of the Canadian story. It was an idea that people from different cultures could live together, share space, honor their differences, and contribute something meaningful to the whole. I still believe in that vision. I love multiculturalism. I love hearing different languages. I love music from many countries. I love learning pieces of other language so that I can greet and connect with people in a more respectful way. I love how culture expresses itself through food, rhythm, family, art, ceremony, celebration, and story. There is beauty in that. There is richness in that. There is an expansion in that. And true multiculturalism asks something of us. It asks us to move beyond living near one another. It asks us to learn how to live with one another. And that is where Surrey has such an important opportunity, because people who arrive from different places may carry different understandings of public space, garbage, recycling, noise, personal boundaries, social etiquette, environmental care, and community responsibility. Some people grew up with recycling programs, litter fines, public campaigns, and parents teaching them repeatedly how to care for shared spaces. Others may have grown up in places where public systems functioned differently, where garbage in the streets was common, where survival carried more urgency than civil etiquette, and where public space held a different meaning. This is a learning process, and it belongs to everyone. People from every background have a lesson to learn. People from every background can forget to care for the environment. People from every background can act from stress, survival, habit, or lack of awareness. So this conversation is for the whole community. Every long-term resident, every newcomer, every student, every worker, every family, every elder, every young person, every person who calls Surrey home. Because to live in a home means to care for the home. If Surrey is now shared, if Surrey is now a shared home for people from many spaces, then Surrey is inviting all of us into a shared responsibility. That responsibility can begin simply. Pick up one piece of garbage. Place a cigarette where it belongs. Leave a park cleaner than you found it. Respect the people sharing space around you. Learn the customs of the place you live in. Share the wisdom of the place you came from. Speak with patience. Listen with humility. Teach with respect. Receive with openness. These small actions matter. They create a field, they create a culture, they create a living example. And perhaps that is exactly how an engineered division can be transformed into a collective awakening. If a system benefits when people separate, when connection becomes a powerful response, if a system benefits when people blame each other, then shared responsibility becomes a powerful response. If a system benefits when people stay confused, then conversation becomes a powerful response. If a system benefits when people feel powerless, then community action becomes a powerful response. This is where Surrey could become a model. What if the very situation designed to create division became the situation that taught people how to unite? What if the rapid population change became the doorway into a deeper kind of multiculturalism? What if the pressure became the teacher? What if Surrey became a place where people learned together how to create harmony through a shared care? Imagine community circles where long-term residents, newcomers, elders, youth, workers, students, families, and local leaders sit together and speak honestly. Imagine programs that teach local etiquette with respect, warmth, and clarity. Imagine cultural exchanges where people share food, music, stories, customs, language, and the values that brought with them. Imagine neighborhood cleanups where people from different backgrounds work side by side. Imagine language sharing where someone learns how to say thank you, welcome, top of the morning to you, and how can I help in the language of their neighbor. Imagine schools, parks, libraries, and community centers becoming bridges between people. Imagine Surrey choosing to become a living classroom for unity. That is the possibility, because the solution is more than policy. The solution is relationship. The solution is more than signs and fines. The solution is shared understanding. The solution is more than telling people what they are doing wrong. The solution is inviting people into why care matters, why clean streets matter, why parks matter, why public space matters, why respect matters, why belonging matters, why responsibility matters. When people understand why something matters, they have a greater chance at caring. And when people feel they belong to a space, they are more likely to protect it. So perhaps one of the greatest things Surrey can do is help people belong in a deeper way. A newcomer who feels welcomed can become a steward of the city. A long-term resident who feels heard can become a bridge instead of a wall. A frustrated neighbor who feels respected can become a teacher instead of an accuser. A young person who sees many cultures working together can grow up in a wider sense of humanity. This is how a city changes, person by person, conversation by conversation, action by action, choice by choice, and yes, there are real concerns. Public spaces need care. Communities need safety. People need to respect one another. Shared spaces need responsibility. People need to understand that littering, stealing, harming, or disregarding others affects the whole community. Those standards matter, and they can be shared through dignity. They can be shared through education. They can be shared through relationship. They can be shared through an intention, a clear intention into a better way. This is the balance. Accountability with compassion. Standards with humility. Awareness with love. Truth with responsibility. Clarity with care. Because if this situation has been shaped to divide people, then the answer is for people to see the shape of the design and choose differently. Instead of blaming the person beside them, we can ask that what system placed us together under this kind of pressure. Instead of fearing cultural differences, we can ask what that difference has to come to teach to us. Instead of reacting to frustration, we can ask what solution is trying to emerge. Instead of seeing a stranger, we can practice seeing a neighbor. That is the higher possibility. Surrey has changed. That change can be felt. And inside that change, there is a choice. The city can continue moving through separation, frustration, and misunderstanding. Or the city can become a model for something greater. A model for unity. A model for shared responsibility. For active multiculturalism. A model for how many cultures can come together, learn from each other, care for the same land, and create a healthier community. And maybe, just maybe, this is bigger than Surrey. Maybe every city facing rapid change has the same invitation. Maybe every community experiencing pressure can ask a different question. What is this diversity as a gift? What if this tension is a teacher? What if this planned pressure reveals a deeper need for unity? What if people who seem different from us are part of our expansion? What if the solution begins with how we choose to see? That is the heart of this episode. The system may benefit from separation. The opportunity is unity. The system may benefit from confusion. The opportunity is awareness. The system may benefit from people blaming one another. The opportunity is shared responsibility. The system may benefit from disconnection. The opportunity is community. So maybe the invitation is simple. Care for the place you live. Leave the park better than you found it. Leave the street better than you found it. Leave the conversation better than you found it. Leave the community better than you found it. Learn from your neighbor. Teach with kindness. Listen with humility. Act with responsibility. See through the pressure. Choose harmony. Because one piece of garbage picked up matters. One respectful conversation matters. One moment of patience matters. One act of welcome matters. One choice to sue a neighbor instead of a stranger matters. And when enough of us make these choices, the energy of a city can change. That is the possibility I see for Surrey. A city that has been placed under pressure can become a city that awakens through pressure. A city that has been shaped towards separation can choose harmony. A city filled with many languages, cultures, and histories can become a living example of what unity actually looks like. And perhaps this possibilities episode can become a spark for conversation, for reflection, for action, a spark for community, a spark for people in Surrey, perhaps beyond Surrey, to recognize we are capable of something greater. We are capable of living together with more respect. We are capable of learning from each other. We are capable of caring for the spaces we share. We are capable of seeing the design and choosing a higher response. We are capable of becoming a community we wish to see. What if Surrey became a model for unity? What if multiculturalism became a living expression of harmony? What if shared responsibility became a bridge? What if the planned pressure became the doorway to a higher possibility? That is the question. And perhaps the answer begins with us. Thank you so much for sharing your attention with this interesting, kind of like a speech podcast. I truly, truly do appreciate your attention, and if possible, share this episode with as many people in the world that you can. For if we all release and let go of the program of separation which we have been programmed with, we can all live in a better world that is far more interesting and more filled with love than we could ever have imagined. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing all of the comments and, perhaps what do you think you could do in the next hour that would make any sort of beneficial presence in your community. Have a wonderful day.